Here we are inside the 2019 Adria Trent 552. If we firstly move over to the master switch just here, we can turn the 12 volts on. You'll see here it then gives us an indication of the condition of the leisure battery. Beside that, we can then turn the water pump on. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps and fill the boiler if it's been drained. After that, we then have the master switch for all of the onboard lights. They can then all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. If we now come across to this bench seat just here, you will see we have the Truma boiler just here, and to drain it down for winterization, it is just done here on the yellow lever. Make sure the water pump is turned off, then flap this up like so to then drain all the water out of the boiler. To refill it, flap it back over, make sure your submersible is in your aqua roll, and then turn your water pump on, and then it will then reprime the boiler up. I do always suggest that when draining down for the winter months, you also open up all of your taps. This will then also help in draining, but secondly, if there was a harsh frost, what we hope will happen is as the water freezes, it will be forced out the end of the taps instead of expanding in the pipework and splitting it. Also in here we have the gas isolation tap for the boiler. It is in the on position, and quite frankly it can stay like that. I always say, smell gas in the van, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. Also underneath here we have the battery charger and the 12 volt fuses just here. So if something's not working on 12 volt, first port of call just to see whether or not you've blown a fuse. Tucked up the corner just here we have the power touch control board for the motor mover, and then we also have here the pressure switch for the water pump as well. Here we have the location for hot water on main supply and hot water on gas. So if we're going to be using main supply, it is just a matter of flicking the rocker switch up if you want hot water at about 50 degrees and flicking it down if you want hot water at about 70 degrees. If we are going to be heating hot water on gas, firstly you need to make sure that the flue cover has been removed from the outside of the caravan, and then same again, rocker switch up about 50 degrees and rocker switch down about 70 degrees. If it fails to light, a red light will appear just about where my finger is here to let you know. This can sometimes happen if you've just put a new gas bottle on and there may be some air in the system that needs to be purged out. Obviously it's not going to light if your gas bottle is empty or not turned on. And lastly, if you've forgotten to take the flue cover off. Next we have the heating on main supply. So we have an outer dial and an inner dial just here. The outer dial picks the power setting. So if we flick it all the way to the top, we can run the heating on main supply using 2 kilowatts. If we flick it down, we can run it on a low 500 watt or 1 kilowatt. So this is just dependent on the amperage of the site you're on to stop yourself from tripping. And then the inner dial just controls the convection. If we now move round, we will then come to the actual fire itself. If we are going to be using the fire on gas, we just come to this knob here and twist it. As soon as we twist it, it will start ticking, and then all we need to do is just hold it down, and usually once the ticking stops we know it's lit, and then we can then let go, and then we can also peer for the pilot light just down here. If you ever turn this and you don't get the ticking noise, it may just be that the battery has run out. And basically tucked just down in the corner here, you may not be able to see it because it is quite dark down here, but just literally where my finger is here, there's a AA battery. Regardless whether you're running the fire on gas or an electric, this part here controls the 12 volt circulation fan that will then blow the warm air out of all of your air ducts. This again has a top dial and a bottom dial. The top one controls the fan speed, and then if we flick it down to M for manual, the fan will then come on. A will not work in this model of caravan, you do need an additional thermostat added. And what you can also do, if it's a warm day, is put it onto this one here. The fan will then blow even harder, just to circulate cool air around the caravan. If we now go into the wardrobe, this is where we will find the trip switches just here. So we have the individual MCBs just here, RCD and test button. So again, if something's not working actually on the main supply, just check to see whether or not you've tripped in here. If not, you've tripped at the site end. In the overhead locker just here, you will see you do have all the cables already available to be able to connect up a stereo. Then we have the 3 gas burner rings. It is just push in, twist, and then press the igniter. There we go. And then beneath the sink we have the oven and grill. Push in to the left for the oven. And push in to the right for the grill. Directly beneath, again, you will find more gas isolation taps for the cooker, the hob, the fridge and the heating. And beside that you then also have the freestanding table. Above we have the microwave just here, plugged in just here. And it behaves like just about all microwaves do. Twist for time. Start, stop just here, defrost, etc. and power setting just there. The Thetford fridge turns on and off on this square just here. This is an automatic model, so as long as you are on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're hooked up to main supply at the moment, it's automatically selected mains. If I now went outside and unplugged this from the main supply, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas. And as soon as you hitch up to your tow vehicle, it will then automatically select 12 volt maintain to keep itself cold whilst on the move. We can take it out of auto just by pressing this button here, so I can manually put it onto mains. I can manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. We're going to get an error code at the moment and a little red light here because we're not hitched up to a tow vehicle. And I can manually put it onto gas. Temperature control just here. Open just there, and you will also find you do have a venting arm just here so when you're not using, you can make it so the door stays on a jar. Then we just have the rear island bed, plenty of space beneath, and then the wardrobe's all at the back. Lastly, we have the washroom, so we have the shower just here, Thetford toilet here, to open to the cassette just on the lever just here, and then push to flush and then close again. If this has not been closed off and you try to remove the cassette, it will not come out. So if you are having resistance when trying to remove, do make sure this is all shut. Level indicator just here, so this will illuminate when the cassette needs emptying. And then we have the basin just here. And then just drains off in the corner just here. And then the vanity unit just here.